Are you seeing what I'm seeing? All these other agents and experts talking about how the market's shifting or turning. But I'm wondering if they maybe are just reading headlines and not really looking at the data. So we're going to do that here in a second. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Brian Simmons here with eXp Realty. It is April 13th. And let's go ahead and dive right in and see what the market is doing. As of today, this morning, we have between Jackson and Josephine counties single family residential listings, 727 active listings. Okay. That's quite a bit higher. We're going to talk about how these are relative to what we've been seeing. But 727 active in between the two counties today. 178 new listings hit the market in the last 7 days. That's the most we've seen all year. 81 price changes. 31 listings are back on the market. 162 went pending, which is super high. 83 closed, and 19 either expired, withdrawn, or canceled, meaning they went off the market for some reason other than being sold. And that all brings us into 8.7 weeks worth of inventory based on a snapshot of just that week, which is way higher than what we've been seeing. But we'll kind of unpack that a little bit and explain why that is. So if you're seeing what I'm seeing and you're paying attention to what others are saying on social media or what news headlines are, I mean, just a simple scroll through my own Facebook feed shows me comments like, don't wait to sell, interest rates are rising, price changes are happening more and more, stuff like that. I mean, it's seems to be fairly short-sighted and seems to paint this kind of doom and gloom, sky is falling scenario where like the market's going to crash and you better do something now about it. And people are trying to play on fear. And I don't like that. I think it's wrong. And so what's interesting to me is like, how can you have stories like that, but then also at the same time in the same market have stories of all these people who are saying like, I'm trying to buy and I've been outbid 12 times and I just finally beat somebody out, or we finally got a home into escrow and we beat 9 other offers. Like, how can you have that scenario from actual buyers in the market? That's their story, that's their experience, and also have this, don't wait to sell, like it's now's the time, price changes are happening, prices are coming up. You can't have both. And that's what's really, really interesting to me. So I want to dive into the data and actually show you what the data is showing. Inventory is creeping up. Okay, there's no disputing that. That's what it's doing. That's what it has been doing the last couple months. That's what it has done this period of time every year. It's what it always does this time of year. It'll continue to creep up all the way probably until October. Okay, and that's totally normal. That's the cyclical nature of this industry. That's what it does. All right, so if we're at 727 homes on the market today, to give you an idea, last year this time we were at 427, okay? And we peaked at 875 in October. So we went from 427 to 875, came on back down, and then now we're on that upswing again in the spring. So we're swinging back up, okay? I expect that to continue all the way to October, and we're probably going to be in the 1,000 plus range in inventory at that time, which is actually really, really good news if you're a buyer, where there's going to be a lot more inventory for you to choose from. Okay, and that's not bad news if you're a seller, because even if let's use a stretch number and say 1,500 homes are on the market in October. Let's say that's the number we end up with. That is still a shortage. Okay, 1,500 homes on the market would still be a shortage in this market. Okay, remember, 6 months worth of inventory. We've talked about this on a number of these reports. 6 months worth of inventory is what's considered to be a neutral market that does not favor a buyer or a seller. Okay. Anything less, it favors the seller. Anything more, it favors the buyer. Okay. We've been in around 5 to 6 weeks worth of inventory, right? Most of this year. So yeah, we have maybe a higher inventory number than we have been used to. Last year, like I said, 427 versus 727 this year, but the amount of buying activity is still so high that our quantity of inventory is essentially the same. We have the same number of weeks worth of inventory relatively as we did last year. So it's not a huge difference. Okay. To get to that 6 months worth of inventory, we would need to have like 2,500 homes on the market. And that's just not likely to happen anytime soon. So So nothing to worry about, in my opinion, when looking at the inventory numbers creeping up. It doesn't mean the market's turning or correcting or anything like that. It just is doing what it does. It goes up, peaks in the fall, comes back down, goes up in the spring, comes back down. It's what it does. If you're one of those that wants to know why that is, great. Let's talk about that. Okay, I'm kind of the same way. So if you want to know why that number is creeping up, it's simple, right? It's because we've had a lot of new listings, right? In this last week, we were actually way above our 6-week average. We had 178 new listings. That's the most we've seen all year for a week. We also simultaneously had the lowest number of closes we've had since January. Okay, so definitely low on there. Our 6-week average on closings has been about 110. We were at 83, so quite a bit lower. But then why did that happen? Well, if you look at the way that the dates shake out, remember back on President's Day, that weekend when I said that we had a lot lower number of deals go pending? Well, those deals that went pending now would have closed, most of them, on last week, April 8th is when that would have been a closing date on most of the contracts that were put into escrow on that President's Day weekend. There was a lot less deals went into escrow on that weekend because it was the first holiday weekend of the year. Great weather, people were out doing stuff, and they weren't buying houses. So now we see the effect of that with 83 closes this week. So that's what's kind of leading to the inventory picking up. But there's also some really, really good signs that show that we have plenty of demand pent up to go ahead and buy up a lot of those new homes that are hitting the market and all that additional inventory, okay? And so there's 3 data points that are important to know about. Number 1 is the price changes. We're right at our 6-week average, okay? And so if the market was changing drastically, you would expect that number to be way above our 6-week average. That we would see a lot of price changes because the market's turning so bad that we have to start slashing prices to sell homes. Like, that's just not happening. The data does not support that. It did not happen, okay? The other is homes coming back on the market. That's also an indicator of things changing where, buyers are saying, you know what, we don't want to move forward with this because we think that we can probably, cancel our deal and maybe we buy it up in a couple months for even lower, and they cancel their deal. That happens. Not happening now, though, because we're also, again, right at our 6-week average on the number of homes coming back onto the market. And then third, and this is the biggest one, the biggest indicator of the pent-up demand that is satisfying all that new inventory is the pending deals. We had the highest number of pending deals we've had all year last week, okay, 162. Our 6-week average is 132, so we're like 20-something% above that average, okay? And so nothing shows current today buyer demand like looking at that pending deals. How many went pending in the last week? 162. That's huge. Okay, so it's hard to make a case for the market to make this big dip when you're seeing numbers like that. So are we going to turn a corner? Who knows? You decide. That's the data that I see. What I would also encourage you to do is if you're wondering what's going on out there and you want to talk to somebody that's actually in it, see if you have any friends that are looking to buy a house, that are trying to buy a house right now, actively looking and writing offers, and get their story. I imagine they will tell you that they've, wrote 10 offers and they've, gotten shut down on all of them because they're getting bid up 20, 30, 50 grand over asking price. I'm hearing that story so frequently, and it's just hard for me to wrap my head around how you could be hearing that story in a market that's coming down. Just doesn't make sense to me. So anyways, I've been wrong before. Maybe I'll be wrong here, but my sense is that I think we're going to be just fine. That's all I got for you today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel here and check out the full version of my newsletter. And I hope to see you all next week. Have a great one.